Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson football channel. Today, I want to go into more depth about why Thomas Tuchel deserves some blame for yesterday's defeat against Leeds United. But I'm back on Last Fan Standing for the new Premier League season. And last week, I might not have been on the show, but we were talking about, or they were talking about, the boys, Manchester United's downfall. Now, after Chelsea's defeat yesterday, this one seems a little bit ironic for me to start discussing.
We got some serious work that needs to be done here, and the board haven't backed the manager at all. He's the right manager. He's finally the right manager, and that's the thing we got to give him time. Nah, it's not over. Look at the teams you're going to be competing with. Look, it's for the top four, and look, United aren't competing for the top four if we don't get our business done. First of all, so this is assuming we get our business done, but you're fighting with Chelsea and Arsenal for fourth spot, really.
I think the problem at Man United is all the way at the top of the club, but less about United. The link to the episode is in the description. You should go and definitely give it a watch. Make sure you're subscribed to the BetVictor Last Fan Standing channel so that you don't miss my appearances and all of the other brilliant content that is posted over there each week. Link is in the description. But enough about United. We've got to talk about Chelsea. Why Thomas Tuchel is to blame for yesterday's result. Not entirely, of course, but lots of comments on the 6 Things We Learnt video. There was over 1,100, 1,200 comments when I just checked a minute ago, which was 13 hours after I uploaded that video after Chelsea were beaten 3-0 away at Leeds United, which for a team that have spent 170 million, this is what the global footballing world will focus on. They'll focus on the fact that because Chelsea have spent 170 million and Thomas Tuchel has now gone through the phase of inheriting a squad and then having like 5-2 defeats against West Brom. You've got a 4-1 defeat against Brentford last season too. So now that Thomas Tuchel has supposedly got his players that he wanted to come in, and then you've got Koulibaly getting sent off, Raheem Sterling drifting out of the game. I'm not going to say it was entirely Sterling's fault. Yes, he probably could have done better with some finishing, but by the end of the match, it was very clear that whatever system or game plan we were trying to play, the players on the field were not capable of executing it. So in this video, I want to give my thoughts on Tuchel's post-match comments. I want to give my thoughts on the way that we're setting up, the way that I think we should aim to set up in the future in order to avoid what happened yesterday. Because the alarming thing for me about this game yesterday was that we knew what to expect from Leeds United. We knew that when you look on paper at the two squads, virtually all of Chelsea's players, hypothetically, on the bench yesterday, would get into this Leeds team. Leeds United in the summer lost their best player. They lost Rafinha. You look at Hakim Ziyech, Christian Pulisic, and even though they might not necessarily be a Jesse Marsch mould of player, these players would get into the Leeds team. That is an absolute fact. And Tuchel's comments after the game kind of triggered me a little bit in a way, because not only did he not really give Leeds any credit yesterday when Leeds were the better team, but he also pretty much proclaimed himself that after 20 minutes, Chelsea gave up on the game plan, which tells me if after 20 minutes of a game when the score is still 0-0, if we give up on a game plan and we lose the match from that 20th minute, then it tells me that the players are not able to execute the plan that has been put in place from minute number 1. So I want to talk about that a little bit, but the main thing that I want to focus on in this video today is playing players out of position. Now, what could this tell us about Tuchel and what he thinks he has in the squad? And then the comments, when we mould this together with, we don't need more midfielders. We've got Jorginho, we've got Gallagher, we've got Ruben, we've got Kante, we've got Kovacic, we've got Mount. There's 6 midfielders there that you can talk about, yet there's only one playing in his ideal normal position come the end of the game. I do find this absolutely baffling. The main thing I don't understand, and the one thing that I really want to focus on that cannot happen right now at Chelsea, as a result of the game yesterday, I've planned out an additional 2, I think maybe even 3 videos, talking about how to fix certain positions at the club right now that are clearly lacking in quality. We have depth, but is it the kind of player that we need to be able to create more chances? The number one thing yesterday that was beyond alarming for me, Ruben Loftus-Cheek has played at right wing back before and excelled. But against a team like Leeds United, where they're going to press you, they're going to win the ball back, Chelsea couldn't advance. Even though we had touches in the opposition box, there is no creativity and no player with the ability to find the man with that cut-through pass or cross in the final third. Chelsea do not have that. Mason Mount isn't that player to get those whipped crosses in early. Raheem Sterling and Kai Havertz look confused about their positions. They look confused with their awareness as to where they need to go when they offload the ball. There were times where Havertz would be down on the right wing and you kind of see Sterling hovering 2/3 across the field instead of through the middle. So there wasn't a through ball that could be played. Leeds were pushing with 2 defenders on Raheem Sterling to basically mark him out of the game. So Reece James, right now, is the best attacking player at Chelsea. That is my honest opinion. Please let me know in the comments down below whether you agree, remotely agree, or disagree with what I've just said there. Reece James is not only one of the strongest defenders, but I think, again, positionally from set pieces, we've seen him caught out too many times. But Reece James has to be Chelsea's right wing back if we are to persist with playing 3 centre-backs. There is no way that Reece James cannot be used in that wing-back role. Yes, I think he can do a job at right centre-back. Yes, I think he has the potential to do a great job in the defensive midfield position. But Reece James gets exposed with his weaknesses when he plays in the right centre-back position. When you look at his positions, when Rodrigo goes forward for the header, when Leeds United scored that second goal, which absolutely killed the game off completely after the first one, I didn't think we were going to score. After the second one, the heads we lost it. We absolutely lost it across every single area of the field. Reece James, right now, if Chelsea do not get their targets through the door to be more creative in attacking areas, Reece James is the best option we have to A, score. Yes, we've only scored 3 goals so far this season, but Reece has got 1 of them, and he ends up 1-on-1 against Tottenham Hotspur in the box. It's not a surprise. Reece going forward is a menace. Dennis the bloody menace for opposition teams. So with Reece James at right centre-back and Ruben right wing-back, the problem I have with this, with Tuchel, and why I blame him for yesterday as a result of this, is you've got Chalobah and you've got Azpilicueta on the bench. Cesar Azpilicueta and Trevor Chalobah are more than capable playing in that right centre-back position, which allows Reece James to go to the right wing-back position. I do not really understand yesterday what kind of formation we were playing. At first, I thought it was a midfield 3 of Ruben, Jorginho, Gallagher. The more I watched the game, Chelsea were pushed to force Ruben into the wing-back role, which led Reece James to be in the centre-back role. And yes, you could probably blame Reece James for the marking and the tracking of Rodrigo's run for the second goal. But yesterday, Chelsea didn't create anything. And I think the reason for that is that people didn't understand what positions they were supposed to be in the transitions, whilst attacking and whilst defending. Now, how do Chelsea fix this problem? Well, the problem really does lie, in my opinion, with Thomas Tuchel persisting with playing Mason Mount further forward. Now, this might sound a little bit hypocritical of me, because there have been many times where I've said Mason Mount should start as one of the front 3 because Mason Mount is a good footballer. So far this season, we've not seen Mount create chances. And I think this is down to the system that we are trying to implement. It is down to the heavy reliance on Chilwell or Cucurella and Reece James in the wing-back roles. When, if you're going to play with 3 attackers, I don't think there can be the ambiguity there is right now between Mount, Havertz and Sterling as to who should be positioned where. When Reece James or Cucurella, or even Gallagher or Jorginho, have the ball in central areas or wide areas, who are they looking at? And I think the issue that Chelsea have is that Thomas Tuchel doesn't rate Ziyech, Pulisic or Callum Hudson-Odoi, despite telling Callum Hudson-Odoi that he's got to fight for his position in the team. Yet when Chelsea aren't creating anything, one of Chelsea's most creative players in terms of actually going to try and take players on is Callum Hudson-Odoi. But is he at the level that Chelsea need in order to be competitive to win the Premier League? I don't think so. And the issue is, I don't think Tuchel thinks so either, which is why we've got a serious problem. We need to fix the players that are playing on the wings. We need direct wingers who are willing to take players on, just like a man who I said Chelsea should go for. Alan St-Maximin yesterday for Newcastle put in one of the best winger performances I can remember in recent times in such an amazing high-octane football game. Alan St-Maximin ran Kyle Walker into the ground yesterday. Who is going to do that right now at Chelsea Football Club? I don't think it's Pulisic. Don't think it's Ziyech. Don't think it's Hudson-Odoi. Don't think it's Mount. And I don't think it's Sterling or Havertz either. Chelsea absolutely need to spend money on a striker who's going to finish the balls if they get into the box. A winger who is going to be able to do what St. Maximin did yesterday when Almiron scored Newcastle's header. And I do find it crazy how Chelsea can spend 170 million. Newcastle United yesterday against Manchester City. Teams sit back against City and Liverpool, get peppered. Newcastle went for it. Why could Chelsea not go for it yesterday against Leeds? And I think the reason for that is right now, Tuchel is frustrated about the playing personnel we have at the club and the lack of investment in those areas. Yes, we spent a lot of money, but at this point, yes, Sterling. I'm not going to write Raheem Sterling off, but we need a striker. Kai Havertz going through the middle isn't working. Premier League defenders are not scared of Kai Havertz right now because positionally, he's not in the right place. And he doesn't have that aggression to be able to take his game up a level, to actually put fear in opposition defenders so that he can get into the right positions and get shots away. The finishing's not good enough either. I also believe that this is a big week for Tuchel now because I think there is definitely a decision now that needs to be made to give Kepa a chance in goal. After what we saw from Mendy yesterday, for me that is unacceptable. He is being too confident in an area of his game where he knows is not his strongest point. So now, when you've got a player like Kepa on the bench who came in last season and did very, very well, I think Tuchel needs to take the mantle here and say, well, Mendy's made a high-profile mistake. We've not just seen this once, we've seen this a couple of times before. Kepa is still a Chelsea player. If Kepa doesn't start next week against Leicester, then I think he could start really starting to push for a move away from Chelsea. And at the moment, we're just blessed that he's still there because if Mendy's form continues to deteriorate, which is when Tuchel would be forced to make a decision to change it. At this moment in time, we're not looking to sign another keeper. We've signed Slonina, but he's on loan until January. So now, Kepa Arrizabalaga must start for me in the game against Leicester this coming weekend. I think it's so important that Chelsea realise here that not only are we talking about potential resale values for Kepa, but he's a decent goalkeeper. He's not been complaining. Mendy, too comfortable. After what we saw yesterday, he's too comfortable. And he has to be dropped against Leicester. We give Kepa a chance. This is why I think at the moment Tuchel's comments about saying we don't need a midfielder. I think unless this is reverse psychology to make sure that Chelsea and Bowley and everybody is going out to make sure we can bring Frenkie de Jong through the door. I don't want to say that it was necessarily fully Conor Gallagher's fault yesterday. I think Jorginho was the main one exposed yesterday when Leeds United were countering, when Leeds United were running at Chelsea, and you see Jorginho running back. He's not got the speed, he's not got the pace, he's not got the legs to get back and be able to reposition himself. And at this point in time, I think Chelsea need to be very proactive here in making a split decision. And I think the split decision has got to be that we try and go for 4 at the back. Yes, at the moment, I think the struggle is that we are trying to play multiple different formations depending on different transitional phases of the game. Do we have the quality to execute that? No. If there are teams that are well drilled, who have a game plan like Leeds did yesterday, they will rip Chelsea apart right now. So I think we've just got to, at this point, I want to see a 4-3-3. I want to see 3 midfielders that are actually midfielders playing in midfield. I want to see Reece James right back. I want to see him making those overlapping runs that he's capable of. I want to see Chilwell or Cucurella doing the same. They've got the pace to get back. They've got the attacking ability to get back and overload the wings to give Chelsea multiple opportunities to get balls into the box. I want to see a striker come in who can be in the right place at the right time to finish crosses, to be there to receive the ball, to offload it to one of the progressive 8s in a midfield 3. That's what I want to see. And I think Tuchel needs to do this now. Otherwise, our season could, as a result of that game yesterday, I don't want to be dramatic, but I really think that what we saw yesterday wasn't a surprise. And against teams like Leeds, we will get destroyed if we play anything like we did yesterday. But anyway, going to be another video at least later on today. I want to really go into that defeat yesterday. And as we always try and do here on this channel, think positively, look forward. There is still 9 days left of the transfer window. And I believe after yesterday, we'll probably see at least 3 more players come through the door. And I'm talking first team players, as well as maybe some more youth players with the the futures project that we've currently got working at the club. But anyway, if you did enjoy this video, please hit the like button, subscribe to GBFC if you are new, and as I said at the beginning of the video, please go and check out the BetVictor Last Fan Standing episode. Link is in the description. I'm back on for another few months, so you'll be sure to see me in a couple of appearances each month. So subscribe to the channel. Come on, you Blues.